Tonight, you get to unclench your hands around the day. Not because everything is finished, not because everyone is happy, not because you finally did it right. Simply because you are here, and you are tired, and you are allowed to be a living person instead of a problem to solve. There is a certain kind of pressure that doesn't show up on the calendar. It's the pressure of the invisible list, the one you carry in your mind while you're making dinner, while you're replying to a message, while you're trying to fall asleep. The list that whispers, keep going, keep fixing, keep improving, don't stop, or you'll fall behind. And sweet one, I want to offer you a calmer, truer sentence to rest your mind on. You don't need to fix everything today. You might notice, as you hear that, how your body responds. Maybe there's a small softening in your shoulders. Maybe nothing changes yet. Maybe the mind argues back immediately with, but if I don't handle it now, it will get worse. That's okay. We're not here to wrestle the mind into silence. We're here to meet it with warmth and to choose a gentler way to live inside your own life. If you can, let this moment be simpler than the day has been. You can let the sounds around you be here. You can let the weight of your body be where it is. You can let your eyes rest on whatever they land on, or let them close if that feels comfortable. You don't have to create a special mood. You just have to stop demanding that you be somewhere else. There is a part of you that tries to fix everything because it believes fixing is the same as staying safe. That part is not your enemy. It learned somewhere along the way that being prepared meant being worthy, that being on top of everything meant being lovable, that if you could just anticipate enough, plan enough, handle enough, then you would. Didn't be surprised by disappointment. So if you've been gripping life tightly, please hear this with compassion. You have been doing your best to protect yourself. And now you deserve a new kind of protection. Not the protection of constant effort, but the protection of kindness. Here is a truth you can carry like a small stone in your pocket. Pausing is not failing. Pausing is listening. When you pause, you're not quitting. You're not collapsing. You're not letting everyone down. You are listening for what is real, what matters, and what your heart can honestly hold today. Because sometimes what's draining you is not the task itself. It's the way you talk to yourself while you do it. It's the way you keep adding more weight to your own arms and calling it discipline. It's the way you measure your worth by what you can carry without complaining. My dear, you were never meant to carry it all at once. So let's start with a softer question. Not a question that demands an answer, but one that opens a window. What is the kindest next inch? Not the kindest next year. Not the perfect plan. Not the entire makeover of your life, just the next inch. Maybe the kindest next inch is drinking a glass of water. Maybe it's washing your face. Maybe it's answering one message and letting the others wait. Maybe it's putting your phone down for a moment and letting your mind settle. Maybe it's saying, I can't do that today, and letting that be a complete sentence. You don't have to prove you are strong by overextending. You can be strong in a quieter way. You can be strong by choosing what is sustainable. You can be strong by staying loyal to your own well-being. And here gently is an affirmation to try on. I can rest inside this moment. I do not have to earn my peace. Let those words be a place to lean, not a rule to follow perfectly. Even if you only believe them 1% right now, that 1% matters. It's a small door opening. Now, let's name something that can feel so convincing: the loop. The mind can loop, like a song that won't stop playing. A conversation replays, a mistake replays, a decision replays, and the mind insists that replaying is solving. But replaying it is not the same as resolving it. The mind is trying to create certainty by running the same scene again and again, hoping a new answer will appear. Sometimes it does help to reflect. Sometimes a clear lesson rises. But often the loop is just the mind's way of avoiding the discomfort of not knowing. And if you've been stuck in that loop, please don't shame yourself for it. It's a very human attempt to feel in control. It's also very exhausting. So the next time you notice the loop beginning, you can meet it with a soft label. Oh, this is the loop. Not as a criticism, as a recognition, as a gentle hand on the shoulder. And then, instead of following it down the same hallway, you can return to a simpler truth. What is needed right now? Right now might not require a solution. Right now might require food, or rest, or a shower, or a small boundary, or a kind word to yourself. You can let the mind be busy and still choose peace. You can let uncertainty exist and still be okay. Try this affirmation like warm tea. My mind can be busy, and I can still be okay. I release the need to solve everything at once. You may notice resistance here. A skeptical voice might say, if I let go, I'll become careless. Or, if I stop pushing, nothing will get done. Or even, if I'm gentle, I'll lose my edge. Let's answer that skepticism with honesty. Gentleness is not negligence. Gentleness is not avoidance. Gentleness is not pretending everything is fine. Gentleness is simply choosing a relationship with yourself that doesn't require cruelty. Because cruelty is not a reliable motivation. It gets you moving, yes, but it doesn't get you home. So here is a vow you can make quietly, in your own words, right where you are. I will not bully myself into becoming who I think I should be. You can still grow. You can still change. You can still take responsibility. But you can do it with dignity. You can do it with love. You can do it without turning your inner world into a battlefield. Now I want to offer you another gentle question. Not have you ever, not why are you like this, but something simpler. What would change if you treated yourself like someone you love just for the next 5 minutes? If someone you loved was overwhelmed, you wouldn't hand them a bigger list. You wouldn't call them lazy. You wouldn't say, come back when you're fixed. You would sit with them. You would help them breathe space back into their day. You would remind them that one step is enough. And you, sweet one, are also someone worthy of that kind of care. So let's talk about the idea of one true step. Because when your mind is crowded, it can feel like you need a dramatic reset, a total reinvention, a giant leap. But what truly restores your sense of agency is often smaller than that. It's choosing one thing that is today-sized. One honest step creates more peace than 10 pressured ones. A today-sized step might look like writing down the one task that truly matters and letting the rest be optional. It might be tidying one surface, not the whole house. It might be sending one email, not cleaning out the entire inbox. It might be saying no to one extra obligation. It might be making one appointment. It might be opening the curtain and letting light into the room. Notice the softness in this approach. It's not do everything. It's do one thing with care. And then you let that be enough. Not because the rest doesn't matter, but because you matter too. Try the is quietly, as if you're speaking to your own heart. I can do one thing with care. That is enough for today. And here are 2 lines you can let wash through you, simple and steady. I am allowed to take this slowly. I am allowed to be human while I grow. If your mind wants proof, give it proof that is gentle. Not the proof of perfection, but the proof of presence. When you do one thing with care, you teach your mind that you are capable without being harsh. You teach your body that action doesn't have to feel like punishment. You teach your life that progress can be kind. Now, my love, let's talk about the guilt that comes when you stop. That quiet sting that says, you should be doing more. Guilt can be loud even when you're alone. It can show up like a supervisor in your head, tapping its foot. But guilt is not always a moral compass. Sometimes guilt is just an old habit. Sometimes it's borrowed expectations. Sometimes it's fear wearing a serious face. So here is another truth line for you. Not now doesn't mean never. It means not now. There are things that can wait. There are conversations that can wait. There are decisions that can wait. There are improvements that can wait. And letting them wait is not irresponsible. It is respectful. It is wise. Because you are not a machine. You have seasons. You have limits. You have a heart that needs room to breathe. So imagine, in a simple and quiet way, that you have a basket. Not a magical basket, not a dramatic one, just a basket. And in that basket, you place the extra worries, the extra responsibilities, the extra shoulds. You don't throw them away. You simply set them aside where they can be handled at a better time. You can say, I can set this down for now. Life can meet me halfway. Now let me give you a metaphor that might help your mind relax its grip. Think of your life like a garden with shelves for tools. There is a time for the rake, a time for the watering can, a time for the pruning shears, and a time to simply sit on the step and notice what is already growing. But when you're anxious to fix everything, you try to carry every tool in your arms all at once. You wobble, You scrape your knuckles, you drop things, and you think the struggle means you're devoted. It doesn't. It just means you're overloaded. You don't need to carry every tool to prove you care. You can put some tools back on the shelf. You can pick up only what you need for today's small patch of soil, and you can trust that the rest will still be there tomorrow. Here is a small recentering line. Today, I tend to what is mine to tend, not what everyone expects, not what the internet says, not what fear demands, what is truly yours today. And now, I want to share a short story, a small moral example, to bring this into the texture of real life. There was a woman named Mina. Mina was the kin, the of person who could see everything that needed attention. She noticed the crumb on the counter, the unanswered message, the bill that might be due, the tension in someone's voice. Her mind was quick, her heart was big, and she often felt like she was holding the whole world together with invisible thread. One evening, Mina stood in her kitchen with the familiar ache of not enough. The sink was full. Her phone was buzzing. Her thoughts were stacking like dishes. And she told herself, if I don't fix this now, I'll wake up to a bigger mess. But she was exhausted, not just physically, exhausted in the place where you stop feeling your own life. She remembered something a friend had once said, try 10 minutes with presence, not a whole night with pressure. So Mina set a small timer, not as a punishment, but as a boundary. 10 minutes. In those 10 minutes, she washed a few dishes slowly. She wiped one counter. She answered one message with honesty. And then, when the time was up, she stopped. Her mind tried to protest. It said, keep going, you didn't finish. But Mina put her hand on her chest and whispered, I am learning a new way. The next morning, the world had not collapsed. The sink still had dishes. But Mina felt different. She felt like she had kept an appointment with herself. She felt dignity. She felt a quiet trust returning. And that, my dear, is what this is about. Not perfect completion, but a steady relationship with your own life. So if you're standing in your own kitchen of overwhelm, let Mina's lesson be gentle. 10 minutes done with presence can bring more dignity than hours done with self-criticism. Now we arrive at something even deeper, the love that stays when the list is unfinished. Because the mind often makes a bargain. I will love myself when I'm done. I will relax when I fix it. I will feel worthy when I finally catch up. But worthiness is not a reward. You are worthy before you are ready. You are worthy in the middle, worthy on the messy days, worthy when you are learning, worthy when you are unsure, worthy when you need help, worthy when you say, this is too much for me today. This is not a declaration that you never need to change anything. It's simply the foundation that makes change possible without shame. So let yourself speak to you like a steady companion, not a manager. A companion doesn't threaten you. A companion doesn't abandon you. A companion stays. You might say, I am on my own side. I can trust myself to return to what matters. Notice the gentleness in that sentence. It doesn't insist that you will do everything perfectly. It only promises that you will come back, that you will keep showing up, that you will not disappear from your own life. And that is enough to begin again. Let's do a small recap to anchor what you've heard. You are allowed to pause without guilt. You can name the loop without being ashamed of it. You can choose one today-sized step with care. You can set the rest down for now, in a basket, on a shelf, in a place of peace. You can remember that your worth is not dependent on completion. If your mind wanders, let it wander. If you feel tender, let tenderness be here. You don't need to fix your feelings today. You only need to hold them with kindness. And there is another layer to this, one that can be tender to admit. Sometimes you are not only trying to fix your tasks, sometimes you are trying to fix people, trying to fix the mood in a room, trying to fix the distance in a relationship, trying to fix the discomfort you feel when someone is disappointed, confused, or quiet. You may not even call it fixing. You might call it being responsible, being helpful, being the one who holds it together. But deep down, it can feel like this. If everyone is okay, then maybe I can finally relax. My love, that is a heavy bargain, because other people's feelings are not a project you can complete. Other people's choices are not a puzzle you can solve, and it is not your job to carry the weather of every heart you meet. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you let your caring be clean. Caring with boundaries is still caring. Caring with breath in it is still love. Here is a truth line that can free up a lot of energy. You can support without saving. Supporting sounds like, I'm here, I'm listening, I care. Saving sounds like, I must make this better right now, or it means I failed. When you notice yourself sliding into saving, you can come back to a steadier place. You can remind yourself softly, I don't have to carry this alone. And sometimes, I don't have to carry this at all. If you are the kind of person who has been strong for everyone, I want you to hear this clearly. You are allowed to be the one who receives. You are allowed to be the one who says, I'm tender today. You are allowed to be the one who doesn't have the answer. There is a particular kind of relief that comes when you stop performing competence, when you stop polishing yourself into something unbreakable, when you let yourself be real, not dramatic, not messy for attention, just real. Real is enough. Real is safe. Real is honest. And maybe, just maybe, the most loving thing you can do tonight is to let a few things remain unresolved, to let a message wait, to let a question rest, to let a silence be a silence, to let tomorrow be tomorrow. Because the mind will try to convince you that everything is urgent. It will put every worry in the same bright red color. It will shout, "Now, now, now!" But life doesn't actually ask for that kind of frantic devotion. Here is a small practice that many people find grounding, and you can make it your own. You can sort your inner world into 3 simple piles, not with perfection, just with kindness. 1. What truly needs attention today? 2. What would be nice but can wait? 3. What is not yours to carry? You don't have to write it down. You don't have to do it perfectly. You can simply feel it. And you might be surprised by how much lands in that 3rd pile. Not yours to fix, not yours to solve, not yours to hold. Sometimes the most peaceful decision you can make is to return what was never meant to live in your arms. If this brings up fear, that's understandable. Let's meet that fear with a gentle realism. Some things are important. Some things require effort. But the truth is, you have survived many imperfect days. You have learned in real time. You have adapted. You have made amends when needed. You have started again. So you don't need to solve the entire future to be safe. You need to be present enough to respond to the next honest moment. And here is another affirmation to anchor that. I can meet life as it comes. I don't need to meet it all at once. Sometimes your mind keeps you busy because stillness feels like a room where old feelings might walk in. If you stop, you might notice grief. If you pause, you might notice loneliness. If you slow down, you might notice how much you've been carrying. So if slowing down feels tender, be proud of yourself for even considering it. That tenderness is not a sign you are weak. It's a sign you are alive. You can hold tenderness without drowning in it. You can feel a feeling without turning it into a life sentence. You can say, "Hello, sadness," without saying, "This is who I am forever." And if it helps, you can borrow this gentle sentence. This is a season, not a sentence. Your mind might also be trying to fix everything because it fears being judged by others, judged by your own inner voice, judged by an old memory that still stings. So let's talk about forgiveness for a moment, not as a performance, but as a release. Forgiveness is not pretending it didn't matter. It's not denying your standards. It's not making excuses. Forgiveness is loosening the knot you've been pulling tight around your own heart. Sometimes the knot is a mistake you made. Sometimes it's a choice you didn't make sooner. Sometimes it's a pattern you're still unlearning. Sometimes it's the way you didn't know how to ask for what you needed. And in those moments, the mind says, fix it by punishing yourself. But punishment rarely makes you wiser. It just makes you smaller. Try this truth line. Learning is allowed to be gentle. You can say to yourself, I see what I wish I had done differently. And you can also say, I was doing the best I could with what I knew then. Both can be true, responsibility, and compass, and can share the same room. Here are two more lines, simple and steady. I forgive myself for being human. I choose to be my own safe place. Now let's return for a moment to that invisible clipboard you've been carrying. All the notes, all the reminders, all the mental tabs open at once. It can feel like if you let go, you'll forget something important. But forgetting is not the only risk. The other risk is forgetting yourself. So you can create a new agreement with your mind. I will remember what matters, and I will not punish myself for what I cannot hold tonight. You can trust that what is truly essential has a way of returning. A bill will show up again. A conversation will come back around. A thought will knock again on another day. And you will be there to meet it with more clarity than you have when you're exhausted. Let me offer you another metaphor, a simple one. Think of your worries like laundry that keeps tumbling out of a basket. If you try to fold every piece at midnight, you'll resent the fabric of your own life. But if you choose one shirt, one towel, one small thing to make orderly, you create a bit of space. Not because the laundry is gone, but because you're not at war with it. You don't need a spotless life to feel peaceful. You need a kind relationship with the life you actually have. And sometimes that kindness looks like saying, I'm done for today, without explaining, without defending, without apologizing. Now, if you're listening at night and your mind tends to speed up as the lights go down, I want to speak to that tender experience. It can feel unfair, can it? All day you manage, you perform, you handle things. Then your head hits the pillow and suddenly your mind wants to hold a meeting. If that happens, it doesn't mean you did the day wrong. It means your mind is trying to process, and you can give it a softer container. You might tell yourself, thank you for trying to help. You might say, we'll come back to this tomorrow. You might let a sentence become your lullaby. Nothing needs to be solved in the dark. That's not denial. It's timing. It's wisdom. It's knowing that a tired mind makes everything feel sharper than it is. And if you're listening in the morning with a day ahead of you, you can carry this message like a quiet compass. I don't have to do it all to be a good person today. You can step into the day without gripping the whole staircase. One step, then the next, then the next. Here is another micro recap so your attention can settle again. You are allowed to pause. You can support without saving. You can sort what's yours and what isn't. You can forgive yourself for learning. You can choose one true step and let that be enough. And here is a small chorus you can return to whenever you feel the urge to rush. I can do less and still be worthy. I can be unfinished and still be whole. Let that be your steady ground. Not as an argument with your mind, but as a place your heart can stand. And if a part of you is still whispering, this sounds nice, but my life is complicated, let that be true too. Complicated lives still deserve softness today. You can take care of important things without abandoning yourself. You can make plans without making yourself small. You can be accountable without being cruel. And when you slip back into pressure, you don't start over from zero. You simply return to kindness again and again, gently. Now I want to give you a few gentle phrases you can return to when you feel the urge to tighten and rush, not as a script you must follow, but as a small collection of lifelines. It can wait. One step is enough. I choose kindness over pressure. I can start again tomorrow. I am learning. You don't have to use all of them. Even one can soften the edge of your day. And here is another truth line, simple and clean. You are not behind. You are becoming. Becoming is not tidy. Becoming has loose threads. Becoming includes rest. Becoming includes pauses. Becoming includes days where the only brave thing you do is keep your heart open. So if today feels messy, let it be messy. If today feels unfinished, let it be unfinished. If today feels heavy, let it be heavy. You don't need to add shame on top of what is already real. You can say, I give myself permission to be a work in progress. I give myself permission to be kind while I change. And now, as we come toward a close, I want to offer you a gentle blessing, not a promise, not a guarantee, just a warm hope you can carry into the rest of your day or night. May you feel safe enough to exhale. May you feel calm enough to stop chasing perfection. May you feel loved enough to rest without proving anything. May you feel clear enough to choose one small true step. And may you trust that tomorrow has its own time. Because you do not need to fix everything today. You only need to meet this moment with a little more gentleness than you've been giving yourself. You only need to take the next inch. You only need to put a few tools back on the shelf. You only need to keep your heart on your own side. And if you forget, if you tighten again, if you fall into the loop again, please be kind about that too. Learning is not linear. Peace is something you practice, not something you win. So let this be your closing affirmation, like a soft blanket around your mind. I am here. I am enough for this moment. I can take life one day, one breath, one kind choice at a time. And I do not have to fix everything today.